Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 4 for today, Tuesday, October 30th, 2012. I'm Darko and my website's ggnonline.com. On YouTube, my channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013. All the links for these articles I'm covering will be in YouTube's video description. And this next article I have up is eugenics. So we'll finish up with eugenics and then we'll finish up with police state. The Department of Defense memory hold its own press release changing population control to population security. You probably remember this. I covered this just recently. I had to do with the Army and civil unrest and how they would take care of population control measures. They called it stability operations. So in my article in explosivereports.com, it's a good website, check it out, DoD population control, part of U.S. stability operations dated October 19th, I quoted from a Department of Defense press release titled DoD Augments Stability Operations with Partners in Private Sector. The original press release is dated October 17, 2012, stating that population control is one of the core missions of DoD's stability operations. At the time he wrote the article, dated on October 17, 2012, links provided, it clearly mentioned the word population control in its 5th paragraph after it was brought to my attention on the 26th. Says that the source link mentioned population security instead of population control. I of course, immediately went on and checked, and sure enough, the original article was still there except for the word control, which by now had been substituted with security. So they say even more disturbing than the obvious attempts by the DoD people to memory hold their own publications is the fact that some disgruntled individuals in the alternative media take the word of the DoD over those trying to retrieve information from the memory hole. And speaking of the civil unrest and stability operations, Marines and police prep for mock zombie invasion. It says, moreover, vampires, goblins, and haunted houses, this kind of Halloween terror aims to shake up the toughest warriors. It says an untold number of so-called zombies are coming to counterterrorism summit attended by hundreds of Marines, Navy special ops, police, firefighters, and others to prepare them for their worst nightmare. The president of Halo says this is a very real exercise and not some type of big costume party. So it's very real. It just happens to be that the bad guys were having a little fun with. In the scenario, a rich elitist, or VIP, and his personal details are trapped in a village surrounded by zombies. It could be a banker, right, too? Getting rescued when a bomb explodes. So the VIP team is wounded and his team must move through the town while dodging bullets and shooting back at the invading zombies. I like how they roll this in there and twist it. No one knows what zombies will do in our scenario, but quite frankly, no one knows what terrorists will do. So yeah, so they, and you know, most people in alternative media that tell the truth and that and support a sovereign government or even no government, they'll be considered terrorists and extremists. So then you're going to be considered a zombie. Of course, it comes after what? The zombie apocalypse. That's what this is all after. It came after the CDC's prevention campaign last year to urge Americans to get ready for a zombie apocalypse, part of a message for emergency management. So the guy from this Halo Corp said that since we got the word about the exercise, they've had calls from every whack job in the world about whether the U.S. government is really preparing for a zombie event. So then we have this article from the 29th. Northwest News says seal pups found dead in West Seattle. So a group that advocates for seals says fewer seal pups are being counted this year in West Seattle and more are being found dead, saying the number is unprecedented since 2007 when a group was founded and biologists don't know what is killing the animals. The experts swept in and said that a virus could be behind the deaths because the food supply this year has been plentiful. But we have this. Fish near Fukushima still contaminated, says study. Elevated levels of sesamium found in fish off Japan's east coast 18 months after the Fukushima nuclear disaster suggests a continuing source of radiation in the ocean, a new study has revealed. So, and I've covered this many times before, which is why Japan loses longest life expectancy for women title. So they lost the title of the highest life expectancy to Hong Kong. And speaking of mutations and stuff like that, I saw this article at first, kind of been hanging on to it. Tyra Banks towers over Katie Couric. Well, the real thing is she looks like a freaking alien. I don't know what's going on there. And then I saw this picture, and I'm like, was it Nicki Minaj, I think her name is? I'm looking for this, yeah. And, you know, she kind of looks like an alien too, so I don't know if this is the whole thing now, the alien look. But either way, police review wider Taser rollout. So the police in Australia are reviewing a further rollout of tasers. Police say the report shows tasers are being used appropriately and it is a very effective option for officers. The police say they don't want them, or they're complaining about them, not because, well, they're not cool, but and they're abused, but they say that it will boost their record-keeping use of the taser. In other words, they have to file more reports. Then don't file the reports. Wink, wink. Police may be allowed to deploy two-shot tasers. I cover this too. From October 19th, British officers could soon be armed with more powerful two-shot tasers. The X2 model currently being tested on American slaves has two cartridges, allowing the officer to target multiple offenders or to take second shots if they miss. Then we have this. Cop tasers a little boy. A New Mexico policeman tasered a 10-year-old child on a playground because the boy refused to clean his patrol car, the boy claims in court. So it goes on and it says here that Higgins claims Webb used his taser on the boy during a May 4th career day visit in New Mexico Intermediate School. The defendant, Webb, asked the boy in a group of boys who would like to clean his patrol unit, the complaint states. A number of boys said that they would, and joking, said that he did not want to clean the patrol unit. The defendant, Webb, responded by pointing his taser at RD and saying, "Let me show you what happens to the people who do not listen to the police." He then shot 2 barbs into RD's chest. The complaint states they penetrated the boy's shirt, causing the device to deliver 50,000 volts into his body. The boy, who weighed less than 100 pounds, blacked out. Instead of calling emergency medical personnel, Webb pulled out the barbs and took the boy to the school principal's office. So they say the tased boy now has post-traumatic stress syndrome, and he's been waking up in the middle of the night holding his chest, afraid he's never going to wake up again, i.e. panic attacks. He's traumatized, and, you can't undo that. So South Korea's auto turret can kill a man in the dead of night from 3 clicks. The 2.5-mile wide demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea is the most heavily contested stretch of land on the planet. So, and I don't have the original article, but this Gizmodo website is actually not available. This is what it says. Our New York State data center is offline thanks to Hurricane Sandy. So actually, my internet was just disconnected while trying to access that. Police arrest a 6-year-old woman speaking at city council meeting. You can be rest assured this is not happening just here. It's happening in a lot of places throughout the country and in England and Europe. Riverside woman is facing a misdemeanor charge for her arrest, following an arrest for speaking too long at the Riverside City Council meeting. Yeah, there's a meeting on chemtrails, where it's just basically the chemicals that fall on the ground or in the water, something that you can measure. They don't use the word chemtrails. And it's totally dismissed, and they know what's going on. All these local boards, as far as fluoride and the effects, they know what's going on. These little panels of douchebags, I like to call them, they know what's going on, and it's affecting the public's health, but they're complete sellouts. And that's why it's such a joke that they act like they represent you. Yeah, she was speaking or commenting on a sludge hauling contract. That's like fracking too, same thing. So in the video, Wright can be heard yelling in pain as officers tried to bring her to her feet. She goes, "Can't you see my wrist? You're pulling and jerking on my wrist. I can't get up without putting my hands down." City officials said officers used their discretion when Wright didn't follow the rules. Right? That's how, don't you like being treated like a child? Council members deny ordering her arrest. But basically what? She was hauled out of the building. So people that were in the meeting, you can hear them saying in the video, "Are you guys kidding me? Stop." And then another person said, "This is your legacy, Mayor, your legacy." And in British Columbia, a teen is arrested for photographing a mall takedown. So a lawyer says guards and police have no right to demand people's camera. He's an aspiring journalist, and he says his rights were violated when he's set upon by security guards and then arrested by a police officer after photographing an incident at Metro Downs shopping mall. So he took a picture of what he thought was a newsworthy event. He said the guards quickly turned on him, demanding him to delete the photo, which he couldn't do because he was shooting on a film camera. Yeah, because it's official, right? And the thing is remember the RT article I was talking about in Texas, and the guy was taking a picture of these real nasty-looking clouds. Well, it happened to be near a refinery, because it's Texas. Well, he got a visit by the FBI. A Robbinsville officer who attacked a woman in a wheelchair has brain condition, prosecutors say. This is in a little apartment complex, the Project Freedom Incorporated. It sounds kind of like some kind of experiment by the agencies, huh? Little mind control. So it says here, a Robbinsville police officer who attacked a woman in a wheelchair and her child in their home last month has a neurological disorder characterized by calcium deposits on his brain, maybe a little too much fluoride. Some other people said maybe it was like too much steroids. His bail was reduced from $250,000 to $10,000. So he's going to undergo further psychological analysis. So what happened? Lee allegedly broke into the family's apartment at Project Freedom and assaulted the boy and his mother, who at the point was knocked out of her wheelchair. Lee also struggled with the family's home health aide as the father, also in a wheelchair, was in the living room and unable to help, authorities said. Fellow officers sent to the Project Freedom on the 9/11 call for a woman being choked found Lee partially clothed and on the couch. Here you go. An initial investigation showed there was no illegal drugs or alcohol in his system, and they did not release the name of the disorder or say whether or how it affects his behavior. So great, that's justice, blind lady justice. All three branches agree Big Brother is the new normal. So the funny part is it goes on there and talks about the Supreme Court ruling on Monday, talking about the secret surveillance or warrantless surveillance program targeting Americans' communication. A program that started in 2008. So, but like I said before, it doesn't really matter. You can't legislate your freedom like that. Once they pass it, it's over. So, this is the way it's going to be. And they were already spying on your communications before that. This is just a circus sideshow to entertain people, to make them give them the illusion that they have some kind of say or there's a political discussion, debate going on, right? So Washington Post says, yes, we need to give up liberty for security. So they're going off the quote of Ben Franklin, who goes on here and it says that those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. I'm not sure if it's Thomas Jefferson, but it says whatever the actual quote is, there's a lot of truth to it. It says either way, it appears that the editorial board of the Washington Post is either wholly unfamiliar with the quote or believes it to be untrue. They came out with an editorial arguing in favor of extending FISA amendment, and it goes on here. This is what we were just talking about, saying it's perfectly fine to give up liberty for security. The discomfort with the government's capacity, technical, legal, to collect massive amounts of personal information is understandable, but the 2008 FISA amendment sought a compromise between two essential goals, preserving American liberty and robustly defending Americans' lives and property. We favor the law and believe that it should be extended. So, see, the media is on board with it too. Then next up, you have Obama executive order expands Homeland Security reach into local law enforcement. Most of us are already aware of the fusion centers, but the executive order creates a White House Homeland Security Partnership, there's that word again, council and steering committee aimed at fostering local partnerships between federal and private institutions to address Homeland Security challenges. The executive order comes weeks after a damning Senate report, I don't think it was damning at all, on Homeland Security's 77 fusion centers, which the Washington Post called pools of ineptitude, waste, and civil liberties intrusions. So it's a waste right now. I'm sure they're getting all the information that they want out of those fusion centers. It says so far Obama signed 141 executive orders. So then Homeland Security to recruit from U.S. universities. The lesbianic woman Napolitano announced a new agency program aimed at recruiting young talent from American universities. They unveiled a Secretary's Honors Program at a meeting, and it goes on here and it says that they want to attract recent college grads for careers in DHS. We need to figure out how to get them into DHS effectively and keep them, she said. So it says here that it will be judged based on their academic performance and outside experience. So that's interesting. You're not going to do it off race and diversity and equality. I mean, you have to force all the other private industries and businesses to hire people that they may not want to hire, that may not be good for the job. But you're not going to do that? California chef, and see, that's the thing too, is that they actually in the DHS they've been accused of discriminating against people that were like non-LGBT. So I just remember that would make sense then. So you guys remember this article from September 19th, California chef allegedly admitted slow cooking his wife's body. Then you have this, NYPD officer arrested by FBI over failed plot to kidnap women and cook them. Horrific plot of planning to cook unsuspecting women over a low heat, which he would track down through the law enforcement databases. Thank you.